In the small town of Willow Creek, where the sun seemed to shine a little brighter and the air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers, lived a woman named Clara. Clara was known for her infectious laughter and her unwavering optimism. She had a knack for brightening others' days, whether it was through her warm smile or her ability to listen without judgment. To the townsfolk, she was the embodiment of positivity, a beacon of light in a world that often felt dark. But beneath her cheerful exterior, Clara carried the weight of her own struggles. She often found herself wrestling with feelings of inadequacy and doubt, emotions she felt compelled to hide from those around her. Clara had learned early on that vulnerability was often met with discomfort, and as a result she built walls around her heart, convincing herself that she had to be okay all the time. One crisp autumn morning, Clara decided to take a walk through the town square. The leaves had turned brilliant shades of orange and gold, and the air was filled with the laughter of children playing in the park. As she strolled, she greeted familiar faces, each exchange punctuated by her signature smile. Yet, as she walked, she couldn't shake the heaviness in her chest. The pressure to maintain her cheerful facade was becoming unbearable. That day, Clara's routine was interrupted by a chance encounter. As she passed by the old library, she noticed a commotion outside. A small crowd had gathered, and Clara's curiosity piqued. She approached cautiously, peering over the heads of the onlookers. In the center of the crowd stood a young man, his face flushed with emotion, speaking passionately about his struggles with mental health. His voice trembled as he shared his story, detailing the battles he faced daily and the moments when he felt utterly lost. Clara's heart ached for him, and as she listened, she felt a strange sense of connection to his words. When the young man finished, the crowd erupted in applause, but Clara remained rooted in place, her mind racing. She had never heard anyone speak so openly about their pain, and it struck a chord deep within her. For the first time, she realized that perhaps she wasn't alone in her feelings of inadequacy. Perhaps it was okay not to be okay all the time. After the crowd dispersed, Clara approached the young man. "You were incredible," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It takes so much courage to share your story like that." He turned to her, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Thank you. I didn't think anyone would care to listen." "I care," Clara replied, her heart pounding. "I think it's important to talk about these things. We all go through tough times, don't we?" He nodded, a hint of relief washing over his features. "Yeah, we do. But it feels like nobody wants to hear about it. Everyone expects you to be okay all the time." Clara felt a wave of understanding wash over her. "I know exactly what you mean. I felt that pressure for so long. It's exhausting." They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of shared experiences hanging in the air. Clara realized that this encounter was more than just a fleeting moment. It was a turning point in her life. She had spent so much time trying to be the person everyone expected her to be, but now she was beginning to see the beauty in vulnerability and the strength that comes from embracing one's true self. As the days turned into weeks, Clara found herself reflecting on her encounter with the young man. She began to understand that being okay all the time was an unrealistic expectation. Life was a tapestry of emotions, woven together with threads of joy, sorrow, triumph, and defeat. It was perfectly normal to feel overwhelmed, to stumble, and to admit that things weren't perfect. With this newfound perspective, Clara made a conscious effort to open up to those around her. She started small, sharing her struggles with her closest friends. To her surprise, they responded with empathy and understanding. They too had faced their own battles, and the conversations that followed were filled with honesty and vulnerability. Clara felt a weight lift off her shoulders as she realized that by sharing her struggles, she was not only freeing herself, but also encouraging others to do the same. One evening, Clara hosted a small gathering at her home, inviting a mix of friends and acquaintances. As they sat around the table, laughter and conversation flowed freely. Clara decided it was time to share her journey, to tell them about the pressures she had felt to always be okay. She took a deep breath and began to speak, her voice steady but her heart racing. "I've always felt like I had to wear a mask," she confessed. "I thought if I showed any weakness, I would be letting everyone down. But I've come to realize that it's okay not to be okay all the time. We all have our moments of struggle, and it's important to talk about them." The room fell silent for a moment, and Clara's heart raced as she worried about how her friends would react. But then, one by one, they began to share their own experiences. Stories of loss, disappointment, and vulnerability filled the air, and Clara felt a sense of camaraderie that she had never experienced before. It was as if a dam had broken, and the flood of emotions that followed was both cathartic and liberating. As the night wore on, Clara felt a deep sense of connection with her friends, a bond forged through shared struggles and authenticity. They laughed, cried, and supported one another, and Clara realized that they were all navigating the complexities of life together. In that moment, she understood that being okay all the time was not only unrealistic, but also unnecessary. What mattered was the ability to be real, to embrace the full spectrum of human emotion, and to find strength in vulnerability. Inspired by the success of her gathering, Clara decided to take her message further. She began volunteering at a local community center where she organized workshops focused on mental health and emotional well-being. She invited speakers to share their stories, just as the young man had done that fateful day in the town square. Clara wanted to create a safe space where people could come together, share their experiences, and learn that it was perfectly okay to not have everything figured out. As the workshops gained popularity, Clara watched as participants began to open up. Each story shared was a testament to the strength found in vulnerability. People who had once felt isolated in their struggles were now finding solace in community. Clara felt a sense of purpose she had never known before, and her heart swelled with pride as she witnessed the transformation taking place around her. One day, as Clara was preparing for a workshop, she received a message from the young man she had met outside the library. He wanted to thank her for inspiring him to continue sharing his story. He had started his own support group, and he invited Clara to speak at their next meeting. Clara felt a rush of excitement and gratitude, knowing that their encounter had sparked a ripple effect of change. On the day of the meeting, Clara stood in front of a room filled with eager faces, each one reflecting a mixture of hope and uncertainty. She shared her journey, the pressures she had faced, and the importance of embracing vulnerability. As she spoke, she could see the impact her words were having. People nodded in understanding, and a sense of camaraderie filled the room. After her talk, Clara opened the floor for discussion. One by one, attendees began to share their stories. It was a powerful moment, a testament to the strength found in community and connection. Clara felt a sense of fulfillment as she listened to each person's journey, knowing that they were all on a path toward healing and understanding. As the weeks turned into months, Clara continued to lead workshops and support groups, creating a safe haven for those seeking solace in their struggles. She learned that life was not about always being okay, but about navigating the ups and downs with grace and resilience. She discovered that vulnerability was not a weakness but a strength, a bridge that connected people in their shared humanity. Through her journey, Clara became a champion for mental health awareness in Willow Creek. She organized community events, brought in speakers, and created resources for those in need. The town began to shift, embracing a culture of openness and support. People were no longer afraid to admit when they were struggling. Instead, they found strength in vulnerability and the power of community. Years later, as Clara stood in front of a crowd at a mental health awareness event, she reflected on how far she had come. The woman who once felt the need to hide her struggles had transformed into a beacon of hope and authenticity. She had learned that it was perfectly okay to not be okay all the time, and in sharing her story, she had given others the permission to do the same. In that moment, Clara understood that life was a beautiful mess, filled with moments of joy and sorrow, laughter and tears. And it was in embracing the full spectrum of human emotion that she had discovered her true self, a self that was not defined by perfection, but by the courage to be real, to be vulnerable, and to connect with others on a deeper level. As the sun set over Willow Creek, casting a warm golden glow over the town, Clara felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had learned that in the tapestry of life, every thread mattered, and it was the imperfections that made it truly beautiful. And so she continued to share her message far and wide, reminding everyone she met that they didn't have to be okay all the time. They just had to be real,